and you forfeit your right to live. It's that simple. Cut off the head of the snake dies. Here with reaction, Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Senator, you know a thing or two about dictators. You see, and by the way, I have a lot of criticism over the years of Ukraine and their government and their corruption that has gone on there. But you've seen a lot of this over the course of your life. You're a student of history. And what is the best way to deal with murdering dictator, thugs, authoritarians like Putin?
I think it's to inflict the maximum amount of punishment possible for two reasons. First, because you got to stop them. But second, because other people that are tempted about becoming like them would take that into account before making a decision to do it. Putin has done this because he's calculated, I think wrong, but he calculated that he would get some sanctions, but they wouldn't be overwhelming. He thought Zelensky would abandon Kyiv as soon as the first Russian landed in Ukraine, and the government would collapse, and he would be able to put some puppet government in. And now what he finds himself in, Sean, is a very delicate situation, actually a most impossible situation. He's either going to have a very costly military victory followed by a painful, costly occupation, or he's going to get bogged down in a quagmire. And meanwhile, his economy in Russia is headed towards third world status. I mean, a week from today, people will be shocked at what shambles that economy is in. And I think, you know, and the last problem he has right now is today especially we've seen an enormous increase in the awareness of Russians that they're involved in a full-scale war and that thousands of Russians are dying.
Let me ask you this, Senator. We've been watching this 40-mile convoy with satellite imagery. And my question is, they apparently have been stalled for a period of time. We know exactly where it is. If that convoy makes it to Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, in my humble opinion, and I pray to God that I'm wrong, this is going to be a massacre. So my question is, we can see exactly where it is. Why isn't there some group, nobody has to take credit for it, I believe in covert operations and plausible deniability. They're sitting ducks right now. Why don't we take out that convoy right where it is right now? It doesn't have to be the U.S., but why doesn't somebody move and take out that convoy knowing that there are going to be likely thousands, tens of thousands of Ukrainians dead if they don't do it?
Yeah, well, first of all, unfortunately, you know, it's one of the amazing things about this conflict is the role that commercial overhead satellites have played. Unfortunately, today it was very cloudy and there was not very good imagery of it, but they're still there. They've now been there for 72 hours, and so for the first time, you're starting to hear and see from the Ukrainian reports, from on-the-ground folks and the like, some real degradation in their readiness. You can't just have people sitting out in trucks in a traffic jam for 3 days and it not begin to degrade their readiness. The Ukrainians know where they are. Obviously, we're not privy to their plans about what they intend to do about it, but they've been pretty good at picking these things off. They have already. One of the reasons why that convoy is stuck on the road is because the Ukrainians have targeted and taken out, you know, the first couple trucks in the convoy, and so that just creates. I mean, it's a two-lane highway in some spots. A couple of these trucks go down, and everybody behind them is stuck, especially if it's a fuel truck. I don't know if you've seen the imagery that the Ukrainians have put out about these Turkish drones they've been using, and they've been doing some real damage to these guys. So, like I said, I mean, Putin's got some real problems on his hands over there.
Let me ask you this question. You talked about the ruble and their finances collapsing, but with that said, our country, even today, is importing 167,000 barrels of Russian oil every single day. Yeah. You know, 40% of the natural gas in Europe with NATO and our Western European allies comes from Russia, on top of all the oil that Putin sends. Price of oil, I think, hit $115 a barrel today. He's making billions of dollars a day. I don't think that they're going to have a problem financially if we continue to import any oil, any energy, we being the United States and Europe, from Putin. Now, that's the one sanction that I think would work the best, and that's the one sanction that nobody wants to put in place. Why is that?
Well, I think because the Biden administration would say because it's going to increase fuel prices in America, but it can be done in a way that it doesn't. They're about 5%, a little bit under 5% of the oil we buy in this country. We could easily replace that with our own domestic capability. In fact, Canada buys virtually no oil from Russia at all, and they're just north of us. So if we wanted to, we could. We're producing 1.2 million barrels a day less than we did under Donald Trump in 2018, 2019. We could get back to that if they walked away from this crazy green news scam or Green New Deal, as they call it, that's waged war on fossil fuels and allowed us to explore more. There are fields ready to go in places like Alaska and Texas that this administration has cracked down on. We could easily replace the Russian supply with our domestic supply if this administration did it, but of course it'd have to go to war with the Squad and all the radicals over there.
All right, Senator Rubio, thank you, as always, for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Here with
Sean.
more from Ukraine is the